It's the most...
Oh, Christmas. Spending time with the family, opening presents, having fun under the tree. What could possibly go wrong? Well, just about everything. Christmas is full of unimaginable terrors.
I'm sure a lot of divorces have been sparked off by massive Christmas rows because Christmas is so pressurising and it's like a big pressure cooker and everybody's stuck together at the same time in the house.
Christmas is a real pressure cooker boiler of a thing. You have to get a present for somebody and you don't necessarily know what they want. So you find yourself thinking, well, I'll either buy them a boat, which I can't afford, or a Rolls Royce, which I can't afford, or I'll get them socks. So you get them socks.
There's always that point at about kind of 3:30 in the afternoon where you've just got the rest of the day stretching ahead of you and there's nothing on telly but church and the Queen and your gran's there and you just think, oh, it's a bit rubbish, isn't it?
Recent figures reveal that over the 12 days of Christmas, 80,000 people end up in hospital. A major problem during the festive period is alcohol and food poisoning, and sometimes this can take an even more sinister turn.
Sadly, we see a number of cases of poisoning that's deliberate over a Christmas period, where people have tried to poison their relatives by giving them their medications, sometimes more sedative medications to try and shut them up.
And there are other hidden dangers, like burning yourself while trying on new festive jumpers with a lit cigarette on the go, or falling downstairs in those new novelty slippers.
And you unwrap your Christmas morning present and it's a pair of reindeer slippers, all joy, sweetness, and you think, oh, I'll put them on, you know, get a little smile from everybody, and you end up falling downstairs and breaking your neck.
But for some wretched festive souls, it's much, much worse. Tonight, we tell the stories of those for whom the season of goodwill became buried beneath a Yuletide of booze, money, gluttony and festive spirit gone wrong. We have fear and loathing.
It did ruin my life. I couldn't leave the house because of people shouting things. You walk past blokes in the street and they'd be like, oh, come on. And it was horrible.
Tragedy.
I am passionate about the lifestyle I have now. I was passionate about it. But this is my life you're talking about.
And pain.
Never, ever, ever. I will never, ever be Santa Claus again.
Yes, at Christmas time, you do need to be afraid, very afraid. And we have the proof, starting with the meanest story ever told. Christmas ruins this man's life every year.
If I could get away with a Christmas menu, I'd have beans on toast, I'll tell you. I'd ban Christmas, I'd ban Easter, and I'd ban sort of like birthdays if I had my way. It's just a commercial rip-off.
Nick Clarke is a 40-year-old train driver and part-time football steward from Doncaster. He's also a modern-day miser. Every Christmas, Nick's mean streak peaks and ruins the life of this lot too.
It's a nightmare. Every time I go shopping, I come home, there's a row. Not just a row, a mega divorcey row.
Mum goes out spending all the money, and when he comes back, Dad starts rowing at her for spending too much money.
Yes, this man is a living, breathing 21st century Scrooge. He even forces wife Diane to get a part-time job to pay for Christmas. He won't spend a penny.
To get extras, I says, like, you're not having the extras out of the housekeeping, so you can better get off your backside and get yourself a job. So that's what she did do, and I don't mind. Whatever she earns, that's her money. But if she overspends on what I think the Christmas budget for the food and drinks, then she will pay the difference.
Christmas with the Clarkes creates one long row, from the cost of Christmas cards to energy-sapping fairy lights.
It's just a waste of money, complete waste of money. They look pretty, they're all right for an hour, but not through the daytime. It's just complete waste. And then
I'm not.
Yes, they are. They're awful, and you know they are. I don't mind you having them. I do not mind you having them on for an hour at night. I said you can have them on for an hour at night.
Are we timed?
More or less. There's nothing wrong with that.
With the Christmas cards, he sends them out and then he asks people to send them back into him. But what people don't realise is that he recycles them. Tipp-X's either the name out or whatever and puts them on to somebody else.
I sent you that same Christmas card for about 7 years and it was your mother who spotted it when she picked it off mantelpiece and says, hang on a minute,
didn't you get this? I didn't want to say no, I hurt your feelings.
It's only
how much are cards from a shop?
It's only when I burst out laughing that she realised what I'd done. Bloody mother-in-law stitched me up like a kipper.
Yes, Nick's greatest pleasure isn't in the giving, but the saving.
He bought me a jug in replacement. What are they, $1.99 or something from local shop? And he bought me that. That was
well, actually, I must confess it wasn't even that, like it's a great front market. Oh. But I got you a pair of jeans as well.
Well, they do fit me.
But you can still take them back and you It's so ungrateful, I just can't believe it.
Nick even avoid paying for tickets. But don't be too hard on him. It seems his meanness is genetic.
I inherited it from my granddad, who was extremely tight. And then my dad seemed to pick up on that theory and work every hour he God could send, but it wouldn't spend a right lot of money. And it's just, I think I've just adopted it, like. I just hope my genes passed through to my kids, and they're the same. When I started picking toilet rolls up and people like looking at me and saying, this is getting ridiculous, and that, I say, what is the point in wasting them? Why? Take the first couple of layers off, they're perfectly clean, I may as well use them at home. Diane doesn't know about the toilet rolls, no. She might do now after it's been on the TV. I just simply used to put them in with the rest of them, like. And she did point out once or twice that some of them were a little bit thin. And I just says, well, I'm trying to buy the cheapest brand I can find.
Even while driving, Nick's always looking for a saving and some free-wheeling. Don't try this at home. He's a miser and it's dangerous.
Get engine on.
Oh, I can just do it from here.
Well, he freewheels everywhere he can, really. Every time there's a hill and he's gained up speed, engine goes off, and we freewheel. He gets more annoyed when cars are coming out of the junction and he has to brake.
As long as no one comes around this roundabout, we should do it all the way.
Yes. You see, look.
The sun always smiles.
But this year, Diane is determined to at least replace the family's ancient plastic tree. The battle of Christmas is on. Will Nick see the light, or will he remain a Christmas cheapskate? Find out after the break.
I have not.
You've just ripped that off.
Sellotape's
Well,
here.
sellotape it back on again.
You can't get any more sellotape on that.
Welcome back to our seasonal look at the dark side of Christmas. Did you realise that over the festive period we spend £31 billion, with £7 billion going on our credit cards? An average family with 2 children will spend over £1,000 on the celebrations. Before the break, we met Nick Clarke, who spends exactly nothing.
My favourite word is free. Definitely free.
He even argues about buying the kids presents.
You're about buying more and more games this year. And there's, like you said before, there's half a dozen games I didn't even play with last year, so why did you bloody buy them in first? Oh, they played them once and put them back again.
They haven't, they've played
You half the time she buys presents what she wants, and she uses kids as an excuse.
When we opened our presents and when I got my Game Boy Advance, I said, Dad, look what I've got. I've got a Game Boy Advance, and he just went, wow. I opened a present and I got some teeny babies what I collect, and I said, Dad, I've got some teeny babies, look. And he just said, wow, I'd rather be at work than here.
But this year, Diane has put her foot down and insists she wants a new tree.
I have not.
You've just ripped that off.
Sellotape's
Well,
here.
sellotape it back on again.
You can't get any more sellotape on that. Look
I'll
at it.
fix this while you're at work tomorrow.
How can you fix it? It's beyond repair. Look, now you've just done that. and
You've
I'm
crushed
having
them.
no- How have I crushed him? I've just got him out of the box. Look at him.
I told you I don't like crackers as it is.
What's with that? It's lost its bits. It's supposed to be fluffy.
Well, it'll be all right like that with others. Look at that. It's perfect
Even
with
Mary's
everything
gone
still here.
missing. She's disgraced with...
There you go. Look at that. It's half decorated when it even started.
This has had its days.
No!
I have had enough.
No, Di, no!
It's gone. End
Get
of
that
story.
fetched in now.
No.
So our Scrooge is dragged kicking and screaming into his own personal hell, the shops.
Very nice. Look at them.
Awful. Thing is, lucky you've got them. Look at it. Oh, you're going to need all this shuffling stuff to cover it, and then you won't even spend even more bloody money. Well, you can pay for the bug. It's not coming out of housekeeping.
Well, I'm going to pay for it.
Think what you can do with 60 bloody quid, don't Diana? There's all Christmas presents and stuff to buy.
So, it's Christmas.
You can carry that.
Battle won, Diane returns home triumphant with tree in hand.
We'll just nip over there now and get some other bits.
I don't think we will. We'll piss off home. You've done enough damage.
We'll go over there.
It's
Look,
home
there's
time.
pound shop
Come on.
over there.
Off you
Over
go.
there. Oh, I feel really victorious today. I've won the battle. I've bought me a massive tree that he didn't want, and I bought loads of baubles to go with it, so I'm really, really happy, and this Christmas will be the best.
Dad, I think you should cheer up at Christmas because it's a good time, not a bad, and you shouldn't be grumpy.
So will Nick change his ways, or will Christmas keep on ruining his life and in turn his family's? Have we managed to change him?
I just want to say, stop being an absolute pain in the bum and a Scrooge at Christmas. It's for the kids. Be happy and just have a bit of joy in this house for one Christmas. That's all I'm asking.
No.
Time for some more horrifying festive figures. During the Christmas period, we drink 250 million pints of beer, that's 5.5 pints per head, and 35 million bottles of wine.
Every year we have a huge number of people who end up sleeping overnight at the hospital just because they don't know where they are, and we end up having to keep them overnight simply so they can work out who they are by the following morning, where they live, and how they can begin to get home.
Festive booze excess cost this pair dear. When two best mates from Rotherham, 25-year-old Cheryl Foster and 26-year-old Sheila Colclough, went out on a Christmas do, they didn't know what they were letting themselves in for. Haunted by the ghost of Christmas press, they'd be damned for all eternity. Well, until January.
It did ruin my life. I couldn't leave the house because of people shouting things. You walk past blokes in the street and they'd be like, oh, come on. And it was horrible.
It was unreal. She was really ill and everything. It was like a Christmas night out on my boyfriend's birthday, and we were really going for it. Slammers and everything.
In the end, we had about 20 vodka slammers. We stood at bar, just me and Cheryl, just lining vodkas up, just knocking them back.
Ended up getting really, really, really sloshed.
The girls needed something to soak up their festive spirits, so they headed for the area's favourite all-night food emporium.
We left nightclub at end at night, and then we decided to go and get some food. We just got fat, we all Pringles that we ate, shared sandwiches, we had a laugh. It was my idea to photocopy my bum. We couldn't manage it because we were that drunk.
And that's when the evening's events took a dramatic turn for the worse.
I photocopied my bum quite a few times, about 8 or 9 times. And then on last go, as Cheryl's gone to give me a leg up, I've come crashing down onto it, and it went with a big crack. I was a bit embarrassed at first.
I were actually scared me because with glass, I were like, oh, have you hurt yourself? And she were like just bent over and she was shaking, but she were laughing. She burst out laughing and we got her off, and and the attendant, he was all up for it at the beginning. I think he just wanted to cop a flash or something. But then when it broke, he were like, well, I never said you could do that,
Next day, the girls had textbook Christmas hangovers from hell and no memory of the horrifying events of the night before.
Next day, I didn't remember a thing. I'd drunk that much, I couldn't remember absolutely anything.
I were in a right state. I felt really ill. I looked it as well.
I didn't have no idea that I brought photocopier. None at all.
Although they felt rougher than Badger's bottoms, the girls had no idea that Sheila's rear end was about to make them world famous. The tabloids got hold of the story and printed security footage, asked the public to come forward and identify the pair.
I opened paper and I just couldn't believe it. I was absolutely gobsmacked. I was like, what have we done?
It was terrifying.
The first feeling, I was really embarrassed. I thought, I can't believe I've done this in a public garage. I've got my bum out, my boobs out, and it's all on camera and everyone can see that.
The police decided to take the whole business very seriously.
It was just silly how they went about it. They calmed down after a while and they saw a funny side to it, but the first initial thoughts were like, arrest her, she's a criminal, this, that and other.
It's just a classic case of people not having enough to do. The police obviously not having enough to do by slapping cuffs on them, and Sheila and Cheryl not having enough in their brains to actually make them go, no, actually don't sit on the photocopier. That's actually a bad idea, and you might get in trouble.
In court, the judge called Sheila shameful and disgusting. She was found guilty of criminal damage, given a 2-year conditional discharge, and fined a whopping £120. Sheila's sister thinks she got what she deserved.
I know she was drunk, but she does do silly things when she's had a beer. I will give her credit for that, but I didn't think she was that silly to actually start sitting on a photocopier.
Going to court wasn't the only ordeal. Their Christmas shame also led to a hard time locally.
When I went to local nightclubs, some lads were like, come on, get your tits out, you know you can do it, you've done it in a garage, do it for us. Then you'd got odd couple of lasses that'd stand in corner saying that we were easy for us to get his boobs out in a public place and proper being bitchy about it.
I think people just blow things out of proportion.
And to this day, Cheryl's mum thinks it was a cracker of a Christmas joke.
Right proud of her, both on 'em.
Christmas is a perfect time for stuffing our faces, and we do. We munch through 25 million Christmas puddings and 10 million turkeys.
Breast meat contains a chemical called 5-HT or 5-hydroxytryptamine. And that's a very interesting chemical because that's the same chemical that is in chocolate and one of the chemicals involved in sexual arousal as well. So there's probably an addictive component both to chocolate, sex and turkey.
But festive overindulgence can also have lethal potential. Meet 46-year-old Andy Park, an electrician from Melksham in Wiltshire. A man so obsessed with Christmas, he celebrates it every single day of the year. But what Andy doesn't realise yet is that Christmas is ruining his life and could eventually kill him.
He loves it. He's addicted. He needs to calm down on it, I think.
Andy's daily celebrations began 10 years ago when he attempted to cheer himself up after his wife left him.
I was pretty lonely, pretty down in the dumps, basically. And I was out in the van that day, and I do remember, I thought to myself, I'll come home and I'll really do something really, really out of this world, crazy. So I put the decorations up. Firstly, it was just a few lights here and there, and a couple of presents here and there, maybe a couple of crackers. But now, I've gone absolutely bonkers on it. I wake up about 8 o'clock in the morning and I think to myself, it's Christmas Day again! Right, so what I do, I rush down the stairs, pick up the 2 presents from under the tree. I just can't wait to get down because it gives you inspiration to get out of bed knowing that it's Christmas Day. Open the presents and I think, great, fantastic. Have a glass of sherry and a couple of mince pies to start the day off. Go to work. I work on domestic appliances. Come home for about sort of 2 o'clock-ish. You know, it's turkey, sprouts, carrots, thick gravy. Oh, it's lovely. And I watch the Queen's speech. Smack on 3 o'clock. Salute the Queen.
Happy Christmas.
A little bit later on, I might have a turkey sandwich, maybe a turkey stew, whatever Janet wants to make, really. Whatever makes me feel good. And then, of course, before you know it, it's time to go to bed again. Just before I go to bed, I wrap a couple of presents up. It could be anything from a pen, a pair of socks, a pair of shoes, whatever. One time it was a video recorder. It don't matter. But what I do, put them under the tree. Of course, when I go to bed at night, I wake up in the morning. Oh, Christmas Day. I get so excited. I just have to jump out of bed, rush down the stairs, and start my Christmas Day off by opening the presents.
Andy Parks has probably got several festive screws loose, in my opinion. Most people only do something a few times before they get bored and need to find a different way of doing it. Whereas in his case, it's like the neurotransmitters in his brain that go, right, you've done that enough times now, aren't working. They've just shut down like a goldfish in a bowl going round and round.
Christmas comes but once a year. There's a clue in that sentence, which is the once a year part.
But it's not enough for Andy to celebrate Christmas every day. Every year, he finances and records his very own Christmas yet. But perhaps this...
It's going to get in the charts. It's the sort of record that can be played any time of the year. Because I celebrate Christmas every day. And that's August, November, it doesn't matter. It's called Christmas Every Day.
I think his Christmas single is rubbish, to be quite honest with you.
Andy spent £3,000.
Perhaps he feels a bit of a dull man inside. Perhaps he's frightened that nobody will pay him any attention. And this is his way of getting attention. He can't be a celebrity, for instance. And so he's become a celebrity in a minor way. He's become like the face of Christmas.
Christmas costs Andy a small fortune every year. He spends around £5,000 on presents for himself, around £1,000 on electricity bills for the lights, and another £1,000 on decorating the house all year round.
I have 105 turkeys per year, which works out to be just over 2 a week. They say I eat about 2,000 Brussels sprouts per year.
How many?
2,000 Brussels sprouts per year. Lots of gravy and stuff in it. I'm getting a bit hungry talking about it, actually. And loads of Christmas puds and mince pies.
But Andy's extraordinary lifestyle has the people closest to him worrying that his obsession is getting out of control.
I'm not sure if I need psychiatric help. Maybe I do, but I'm not really sure about it.
He does really need to look at his weight. I mean, he's put on about 5 stone, I think, in the last, since I've known him.
But Andy insists he's in tip-top condition.
Well, what I do 50 press-ups a day. I do 2 lots of 25. I do 25 in the morning and 25 early evening. I do know in my heart I am fit. I'll challenge anyone to 25 press-ups.
He doesn't do 50 press-ups in the morning. That's just a lie. He does think that he's healthy, but everyone can see he's totally overweight, but like at the end of the day he thinks because he can keep going and going from the minute he wakes up to the minute he goes to bed, he's fit.
They're worried about me. People are worried about me, yeah, oh, God bless them. I suppose I'm worried about myself when it's brought to my attention that I have put weight on and, I should slow down. Perhaps they are right.
So Janet and his daughter are worried, and maybe with good reason. Christmas is ruining Andy's life, and after the break we'll reveal why. He's in for one hell of a shock.
Oh, sorry about
that. Welcome back. Before the break, we met Andy Park from Wiltshire, the only man in Britain who chooses to live out his very own Groundhog Day and celebrate Christmas all year round. But the constant festive excess could be ruining his life, and his loved ones are seriously worried. Under pressure from them, Andy has agreed to meet with nutritionist Tanya Carr and put his lifestyle under the microscope.
Okay, Andy, shall we pop you on the scales and see how you're doing with your weight? And it's all in stones at the moment. Is that okay for you?
That's fine.
Okay. You're 18 stone and 5 pounds.
Good Lord.
Does that shock you?
It does. I thought it was only about 16.
Really?
Flippin' heck, yeah.
You're actually 18.5 stone, so I'm afraid to tell you that you're actually off the chart. You're definitely going to be resting in the red zone. If you read the red zone, it says that you're actually obese.
Really? Ooh.
So if we take a circumference, now I'm just going to measure you the whole way around the middle, okay? So you just stand there. And you're 106 centimetres right round the middle, okay?
Is that good?
What do you think, Andy? Laid end to end, you've got a 3.5-foot waist.
I'll be honest, I feel quite good, but you saying that, I suppose it is a bit shocking.
And there's even more bad news.
I think clearly from all the tests that we've carried out today, in terms of his high blood pressure, his high cholesterol level, the fact that he is an apple shape, he's carrying a lot of the fat around his abdomen, and he's clearly overweight in general. He's very much at high risk of coronary heart disease, diabetes, cancer as well. And he needs to really take a hard look at that, which, to some degree he's really done today.
So with the news that he's seriously unhealthy, will Andy be able to go cold turkey and change his lifestyle?
When you're sure you've had enough.
I am passionate about the lifestyle I have now. I was passionate about it. But this is my life you're talking about. A Christmas dinner every day, I think I'll have 2 a week. That's one thing to cut down on, isn't it? Not so many mince pies, not so much Christmas pud. I really will do more exercises. More sex.
Unfortunately, Andy's single Christmas Every Day didn't make it into the charts this year. But hey-ho, with a medical from us, he may be a lot healthier next Yuletide. More terrifying Christmas facts now. The people have accidents with trees each year. Some end up in hospital after eating baubles thinking they're chocolate goodies. Others in trees.
Why are you watering your Christmas tree in the first place? It's dead. You only need it for 3 days. Why are you watering it?
A quiet suburban street in Irvine, half an hour south of Glasgow. It might look like an ordinary suburb, but it's not. Because at Christmas, Wardlaw Gardens becomes a bitter festive battleground. David and Emma Rowlands moved to their dream home in 1999. But David had the bright idea of putting up, and things turned nasty.
It's affected us mentally, physically, financially, especially financially. And the stress on us has been horrendous. It really has. When we first put them up, it was fine. Everybody was happy. Neighbours actually gave me a hand to put them up.
The lights became such an attraction, David started collecting money to give to local charities. But when neighbours were getting thoroughly cheesed off with all the extra traffic, the Wardlaw Gardens Action Group was set up in a bid to get the lights taken down.
It's totally immaterial whether anyone liked it or didn't like it. The crux of the matter is it caused a lot of traffic on an area that is not built for traffic.
Our tyre over the edge of grass. They did say there was 90 cars an hour. The state, with no way, can take 90 cars an hour. If it could, then I would be much surprised.
The whole thing ended up in court, and after 4 years of bitter wrangling and £22,000 spent, David lost.
The final outcome is Mr. and Mrs. Rowlands is not allowed Christmas lights whatsoever in Wardlaw Gardens as long as we stay here.
But he thinks the neighbours are just being snobs about the whole thing.
I think because they're into a wee estate, they want to try and keep this estate, you know, like it's upper class. And it's no upper class. Everybody, I class everybody in this world as equal.
I have to say that I do look down on the Rowlands, particularly Mrs. Rowlands, because I was brought up in a housing scheme in Glasgow, and I was brought up not to stand in the street and shout and swear at your neighbours. And if they think that we look down on them, well, they're very correct. I do look down on that. I don't accept that as reasonable behaviour.
They've broken my heart and all my family's hearts. I know that the grandchildren love the decorations, and I don't see quite a few grandchildren, you know, because of all this.
It feels that I want to cry as well, it just makes me upset. I just think it's disgusting how they're doing this to my gran and papa, because I really like them and you should really like them because they're for a really good cause.
Defeated in the courts, ignored and vilified by most of his neighbours, David is determined to celebrate Christmas and show off some of his lights.
If I'm going to put the lights in my conservatory, I'm not doing it to make the neighbours angry. I'm doing it because I want to enjoy some sort of Christmas, and if I decorate inside my house, my conservatory's inside my house, that's the reason I'm going to do it.
And David's message to his neighbours is this.
The Rowlands are antisocial, disruptive, belligerent.
It's not really to do with Christmas at all. I mean, it's got to a ludicrous, petty level now. It's completely playground and it's completely ridiculous.
I'm quite happy with what I've done, and I'm going to enjoy Christmas. And to everybody out there that enjoys Christmas and likes their lights, a very Merry Christmas to you, but not to the bad neighbours in Wardlaw Gardens.
Christmas is full of hidden dangers. Every year, people injure themselves by opening beer bottles with their teeth. And in 1999, 4 people were admitted to hospital after overly aggressive cracker pulling incidents.
I think the Christmas cracker itself is very symbolic of, you know, everything that's wrong with Christmas. It's like disappointment in a shiny suit, isn't it? You just sort of, it sits there all through your meal and you know, promising laughs and happiness and gifts, and you pull it and out you get this rubbish joke in a very thin magnifying glass.
So in the spirit of all things bad at Christmas, we searched cracker history to find Britain's worst ever joke, starting with this all-time classic.
Question: how do hens dance? Answer: chick to chick. I first heard that gag in 1947, and it was crap then.
The Cracker Countdown will continue after the sorry story of a Santa gone wrong. Christmas ruined the life of 49-year-old Thomas Killeran from Gwent in South Wales. He thought he was doing the right thing by helping out his local Rotary Club at Christmas when tragedy struck.
Never, ever, ever. I will never, ever be Santa Claus again.
Tom's tale of festive woe began when he volunteered to be Santa for Radcliffe Rotary Club. Riding on a makeshift sleigh, he was collecting money for local charities, but the driver took a dramatic detour which ended up in dire consequences for Tom.
We were bumping and grinding along across the pitch, and obviously I was having a bit of a job evenness of the ground. And as I say, the front left-hand side of the vehicle dipped violently. I was catapulted through the air and landed on the ground. One Rotary member actually commented that he'd only wished he'd had a video with him because it was the funniest thing he'd ever seen in his life. But obviously it wasn't funny the following morning.
It turned out badly injured. He underwent major surgery.
The elbow had healed in malunion, as they say, which prevented me from straightening the arm. I then had to go and have surgery performed. One of the customers in the pub, a friend of mine, actually mentioned to the pub landlord that I could sue. Now, this was never, ever my intention. And from that moment on, the whole attitude changed.
This was the turning point. False rumours flew round that Tom was going to sue, and people believed them. Suddenly, the maimed Santa was a social leper.
I began to become ostracised. I would walk into the pub and people who came in after me would be served before me. I was asked to leave a couple of times, to such an extent that I was virtually on my own in the pub, and people broke into factions, basically.
Tom had had enough. He avenged himself by finally taking legal action, seeking some compensation for all the heartache and pain.
Had I not been treated the way I was treated, I would never, ever have contemplated taking any legal action against the Rotary Club. But because they vilified me, I was shunned and I was ignored, and I hadn't done anything wrong.
After the court case, the Rotary Club was forced to pay up nearly £14,000 in damages to Tom. The club declined to take part in this programme, but have made a statement. We cross now to the 5 newsroom.
Hello, I'm Charlie State. This just in from the Radcliffe Rotary Club. In a written statement, the club comment that the Rotary Club spend many hours each Christmas escorting Santa around Radcliffe. We were therefore surprised to be the subject of a legal action by a voluntary helper. The matter was quite properly placed immediately in the hands of the club's insurers, but the claimant was successful. All costs were met by the insurers. Back now to the injured Santa, who's moved away from Greater Manchester and is back in his native Wales.
Things got so bad that I decided enough was enough, and I decided to leave Radcliffe. I couldn't take any more.
But despite his victory, Tom has this warning to any would-be Santas.
For anyone considering being Santa Claus this Christmas, or any other Christmas in fact, I would say that this incident serves as a salutary warning of the perils and pitfalls of being Santa. It's not all jolly holly and festivities. It can ruin your life, and in this particular incident, Christmas did ruin my life.
Now time for number 4 in our Cracker Countdown.
What did the sink say to the dripping tap? Stop being such a drip.
Santa baby, slip a sable under the tree.
Wacky DJ Wayne Tunnicliffe managed to nearly ruin his life and the lives of one whole family when a Christmas stunt backfired.
It ruined Christmas, really, because, I mean, it was just a joke at the end of the day. I mean, I can't be responsible for somebody taking their eyes off the road.
But Wayne's madcap stunt also ruined the lives of this man's family.
Well, Wayne, I'd like to say stop getting your bollocks out in public places. They are a public menace.
It all started when Zany Wayne, a 29-year-old DJ on Metro Radio in Newcastle, bet his colleagues that Big Brother's Craig Phillips would make it to the Christmas number 1.
I had a little bit of inside information like I have every year, and I thought, it's going to be Craig from Big Brother. He's massively popular. He's giving his money to charity. Guaranteed winner. How you doing? This is Wayne here. Now, I really do need a favour here. I'm appealing to you to buy the Christmas single from Craig. You know Craig from Big Brother?
Unfortunately, Craig's Christmas single stumbled in at number 14, so bet lost. Wayne headed for the Angel of the North.
I got up there thinking nobody's going to be around. There was people. People are beeping the horns even before it started. So, there we go. Did it in one. I just run down, straight onto the grass, speed built up, and there's me just flick right over, covered head to toe in mud on a cold, sort of like Christmassy time day. It was a nightmare. I could still see loads of traffic, so I thought it's been really, really successful.
But little did Wayne know that his 15 minutes of fame was about to bite him firmly on the buttocks. Passing drivers started rubbernecking, and although Wayne wasn't directly blamed by the police, there was a 3-car pile-up. One of the drivers, Anise Booker, suffered whiplash injuries. Her husband, Michael, would become Wayne's nemesis.
She was listening to Metro radio. She heard about Wacky Wayne, the DJ who was supposed to be bearing himself up at the Angel of the North.
I'm driving home for Christmas.
Next thing you know, she gets a big wallop up her backside. And the cars have been taken off the road.
Michael, a newspaper journalist, decided to avenge his ruined Christmas by giving the local DJ some very unwelcome publicity.
I managed to get through to Wayne, and him being the fame-hungry minor celebrity that he is, he said, well, if you can get me in the newspapers tomorrow, I'll take you and your missus out for lunch. I got him in the newspapers the next day.
What was just a light-hearted joke, a bit of radio fun, had obviously upset some people. Somebody's written off a car, there's 3 cars involved in an accident, you make the national newspapers. I was going to get a disciplinary. My dad really wasn't happy about it. You got people saying, you know, grow up. It really wasn't, you know, the best Christmas of my life.
So Christmas ruined for poor old Wayne. But what about Michael and his family?
Well, it ruined things pretty much because there was a lot of things to do. I mean, she still had the injury. There was the car, which was a complete write-off. And it did cast a large shadow over Christmas and did ruin it, yeah.
At the end of the day, no matter what's going on around you in this world, if somebody says, there's David Beckham next to you, you've got to keep these on the road. So, but I am sorry, and have a good Christmas.
But maybe we all share a bit of the responsibility for this sorry tale by not putting our hands in our pockets and making Craig Phillips' classic a #1. So, from one bad joke, 3 in our cracker countdown.
When does it rain money? When there's a change in the weather. And please God, there's going to be a change in these gags.
If you think that's bad, join us after the break when Bernard reveals the worst cracker joke of all time. Plus, we exclusively reveal how an out-of-control Santa deceived and betrayed his best chum.
All it done was ruin my Christmas.
Welcome back to the show that looks at the darker side of Christmas. In a few minutes, we'll announce the worst cracker joke of all time. But first, the runner-up.
I'm Bernard Manning, and I'm the ghost of Christmas laughs. What do you call a ghost that haunts chat shows? Now, you think it's Billy Connolly, don't you? No. The Phantom of the Opera.
Next up, a classic story of Father Christmas losing control and giving all Santas a bad name. It's a disturbing tale of how a best friend was betrayed.
All it done was ruin my Christmas.
Eve, when 38-year-old writer Glenn Genvey from Salisbury had the bright idea of giving his friend's clothes shop some free publicity.
Sat in the window, 2 wonderful models, drinking and laughing, and they were doing the splits and winking to the fellas, and I was sort of waving to the kids and the women, and they were all looking at us. We were basically being right comical in a window. And I was drinking so much. In the end, I just fell. Bang! I'm on the pavement.
The drunken Santa's fall through the shop window became national and international news. But we can exclusively reveal that the fall through the window was a total hit for a laugh and to get more publicity. But in doing so, he would also betray his best friend.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
I admit, I made the whole story up. It was publicity. It went worldwide. But it was a nice story.
And next, the unforgivable lie which nearly ruined his best mate's reputation. Glenn, when asked his name, didn't give his own, but that of Graham.
Well, I was really angry. How would you feel if you all of a sudden find out that they've used your name, you don't take it so serious to start off with, and then, shock horror, you see your name all over the papers?
The biggest drunk in England.
I wasn't amused. It completely ruined my Christmas because on Christmas Day I had my mother shame the web name.
There are about 10,000 people claiming to be Santa Claus throughout the world, of which 999,999 aren't. They're just alcoholics.
Branded a drunk Santa, the whole incident has done untold damage to Graham's good name and reputation.
It would never go away, so that's why I want the truth out. I am Graham Webb. So can I finish this with one thing? So that the whole world can see how upset I am.
Yes, it's time to announce the world's worst cracker joke of all time.
I'm not a scientist, but I reckon this gag is the worst gag in Christmas cracker history. What is the best place for a party aboard ship? Where the fun'll be. That's about your Christmas now, isn't it?
This is the tale of how a local panto became national news, split a village in half and ruined Christmas for both young and old. Ruined it for everyone.
I'm really gutted that there's no Panto in Merton this year, because I was going to be in it, and I've been in one before, and I was really gutted that it wasn't going to be on this year.
The village has quite a large elderly population who would obviously like to get out more than they can, and they look forward each year to going to the Panto because it stars a lot of the people that live in the village, obviously.
There'll be no Panto at Merton Village Hall in Devon this year. Oh yes there will, oh no there won't. And all because of this man, Bob Harrod. He's been accused of ruining Christmas after a row erupted when he wrote a panto entitled Snow White and the Seven Asylum Seekers.
We can't change the title because it would change the whole sense of the thing.
Bob, never one to shy away from political pantos, recently wrote this topical masterpiece on foot and mouth disease.
Putting off the dreaded moment. We might as well get going. Sorry, I lost my lot.
With this new panto, Bob had put a political twist on an old fairy tale. All the dwarves were illegally working in a quarry and living off baked beans in a cabin in the woods. The names of the characters were as follows.
Comical Alley, Chemical Alley, Back Alley, Dark Alley, Alley G, Alley Kiss Angel, I think that's all, isn't it? They're all alleys because Iraq is topical this year, so we just thought it was a good idea. But we haven't said anything against. Are they Muslims? I don't know, I suppose they are.
But this year, no one will be enjoying any panto after the management of the Merton Village Hall contacted the Devon and Exeter Commission for Racial Equality. They advised that the...
Contacted the author of the pantomime by letter and said that we'd request that he change the title and remove any racist references from the script.
It's political correctness gone mad. Political correctness gone stark raving bonkers.
He seems to have their own opinion on it.
So the good name of Merton has been dragged into the media spotlight and Christmas ruined for the likes of committee member and Merton player Janet Nancekivell.
Very small part I was going to play. I was one of the back alley, I think it was. For me, it's been very difficult being on the Merton Players and on the Village Hall Committee. I've had a lot of sleepless nights over this issue.
But Christmas is also ruined for Bob. He's vowed never to write another village panto as long as he lives.
I think these people who are making these accusations, if there are racists around, well, perhaps it's them. Perhaps they're being racist towards me.
I think to stereotype asylum seekers in the way that the pantomime does is not within the spirit of Christmas. We think of it as a time of peace on earth and goodwill to all men.
So, a village divided, a community split in half. Christmas ruined for old and young. Only time will tell if wounds will heal and whether this small community will ever enjoy a Christmas panto again.
So this is Christmas.
May these tales of woe guide you safely through the minefield of merrymaking. And if you've avoided dodgy food, dire presents, death and divorce, That's the true miracle of Christmas. But remember, it isn't over yet. We wish you a Merry Christmas, and so does Bernard.
Happy Christmas, everyone. Hope you're having a nice Christmas holiday with all the family. It's great, isn't it?
Coming up next on 5, the crew are back, this time aboard a passenger space shuttle heading for the sun. But is it too late to avert disaster? Airplane 2, the sequel, is our movie in just a moment.
Please, get me out of here.